Do a little short upload here on something of the culture that has always been very interesting and not very understood. In Western culture, as for a child example, when little Johnny going to go to school, mommy kisses little Johnny goodbye. Or little Johnny kisses mommy or daddy goodbye. Out here, and it's one thing I've noticed since I've lived here, and it's right here in the family too. For example, her daughter just took off to go to Cebu. They don't hug each other. They don't kiss each other goodbye. And I think one of the superstitions or something involved in this is that if you say goodbye in that way, it means that you'll never see them again. Now, I don't know where this cultural trait has come from, but it really is an oddity, especially from a society out here that tries to emulate, Western culture so much, even to the skin color, to the music, to fashion, style, and other material things. And this is something that's worth actually exploring. But I'm trying to kind of charge up my memory to think if I've ever seen an interaction between mother and child. Even husband and wife say goodbye to each other if they wouldn't go away. Or, now my situation, of course, with my girlfriend, if she's sometimes going to go to the store somewhere, or go to Zoom or whatever it is, she'll give me a kiss goodbye. Now, apparently that's allowable somehow, but it's just something very odd. And the children are brought up to not be huggy-feely that way. They don't kiss mommy or daddy, whatever, goodbye. They're going to go to school, things like that. It's not that I never observed it. I just never really, put a lot of thought to it. But as I witnessed something a short while ago, I said, how come you don't give your daughter a kiss or hug goodbye? Or the other way around. I guess it's just something they don't do out here. So yes, the culture is different out here in a lot of different ways. And like I said, you're not going to change a culture, and you're not going to tell them not to eat rice, and you're not going to suddenly tell them that you got to kiss little Johnny before he goes to school. See, in Western culture, we do that because, well, it's traditional, but also it's like, we would have the theory of, saying I love you before you go to sleep because, you may not wake up alive someday. At least you say I love you or something on there. Geez. I don't know. That's one thing that I find very kind of odd. Although they adhere to our Western culture, this is one part of Western culture that is just very barren to me. And I'm still trying to understand where this came from. I guess there's a lot of superstitions out here. Maybe they're where it's come from. I don't know. Now, I'm reasonably sure that the Spanish who had settled out here, and even in today's Spanish culture, they all kiss each other goodbye or whatever. But even with the Spanish influence out here, when they settled here, I don't know. I guess I've never been there to see it happen. So maybe they did or maybe they didn't. But I'm kind of thinking that the Spanish did. Well, Spanish that came here, it wasn't to make love. It was to make settlement and war or whatever. But, I don't know if that pertains to the Japanese culture or the Chinese culture. Does that pertain to those other cultures too? Are they, let's say the Thai people, the people from China, or do they do that too? Or I'm asking my partner here. Yeah. When she worked in Brunei, they basically just bowed to each other. That's an honor thing, There you go, guys. That's one difference in the culture. That
especially grow-up kids, they don't want to kiss or something.
Well, the kids don't do it because their parents don't do it, and if the parents were used to teaching their kids to greet each other when they see them, or
little kids, they can do that.
Well, the one thing I expected out here was that maybe when somebody arrives you haven't seen for a while, hey, you give them a nice little hug or something. I don't even see that. I don't even see that. Why do you hug me then? Why?
It's different, right?
It's different. No, come on. It's a culture. It's a culture, right? It's a culture. Yeah, a family member arrives, or maybe you meet him at the airport or something. You don't give him a hug? even like when I came back from Hawaii, hadn't seen her for a year and 2 months, it wasn't exactly like jumping up and down, and you see people overplay it on their YouTube videos, and they got music on there. The music swells, and what it was one song they play all the time, "In a Thousand Years" by who sung that? That's a thousand years. You know that one. I don't know. And you see that a lot on YouTube in a song. I forgot who sung it. Was popular. It's called "A Thousand Years." I think you know the one I'm talking about. There's not all that hoopla at the airport, but they're glad to see you. They may, hug you or whatever. They don't make, but Filipinos don't make a scene. They're not going to stand there and, it's not a European thing or anything. They're not going to stand there at the airport and hug and kiss you for 5 minutes, posing for the camera so they can make a good video or something. And the music swells and all that stuff. They don't do that here. So I, for those that were wondering about that part of the tradition, I could not answer that. If I tried, I don't think they could answer it. They just know that that's not something that is common to do here. And I'll guarantee you that most Westerners that move here, it's not something they see off right away, that they even think about until something like this comes up and says, I guess now that you say that, I never really noticed that before, I don't know, if your kid's in a hospital bed dying or something, will you hug and kiss the kid? Would you do that? If you had a kid that was ill in the hospital, would you hug and kiss your child?
Yeah,
Oh, if they're dying or something, you'll kiss them, but, that's okay. In a that's okay. That's okay to do, apparently, but I don't know, man. As I said, you're not in Kansas anymore when you're out here. And there's certain aspects of the culture you just got to respect, It's if the young is still a baby,
teenager, you can do that. You can kiss.
Maybe a teenager, but
now the generation now, the kids don't want the parents kissing or something.
Yeah, this generation. Has it always been generational like this? Or is this like a new generation that's happened? Did they ever used to do that at all?
Yeah. Look at now. Before, if the baby, if the kids always go with the parents. But if they grow up already, like a teenager, they didn't want to go with the parents. They didn't want to, even you said, okay, we go somewhere, we go like that. They don't want to go with you because they got their own. They didn't want.
Are they more independent?
Yeah, they want to stay at home, or they don't want to go.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, we're back down to our original brood around here. Everybody left except the original two that actually reside with us here. And
if your kids like young, so you just grab your opportunity to do it. You bring, if the one kids want to go with you, go that one, because it's grow up. They don't want to go with you.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but not that my family was that huggy-feely. They really weren't, but, as a small child, my father wouldn't kiss me, or hug me. But the mother, I could always recall memories of that. She'd give me a kiss goodbye or something like that, going to school, whatever. Not when I came home, though, but when I was going to school, off to school or something like that, she would do that. So I grew up in that culture where that was commonplace to me. It's just like other things about here. It's just so strange where everybody, even in the 7-Eleven store, they got big guns on their hands outside. And it gives you the feeling that this is indeed a military government, militarized government. Well, I guess it is. Would you call it a militarized government here, Gilda? I don't know. For what I could see, having these long guns and semi-automatic weapons just to protect the 7-Eleven or something. Or
no, mostly here, if you get a guard or something, you have.
Yeah, I know, but in America, you don't see guards in front of a 7-Eleven unless you're in East LA or something. Maybe they have something like that.
They have a license to carry the gun after they're working, so the guns live at work.
Oh no, they have a license to carry the gun. Yeah, I understand that, but
because if you're security guard without guns, so people's just like a joking.
Well, look, I understand at a bank, inside the bank in America, they actually, to tell you the truth, even my bank in America, it was really, I never saw any guards there. I guess it's according to your community how safe it is, but maybe in Detroit, Michigan or something. I'm sure maybe it's or something like that, or bumfuck Egypt or something. But you know, I had never seen.
Yeah, one time.
I never seen in my bank. I can understand armed guards for the armored truck that comes in. See, that part I totally understand that part. But I've not seen a bank with his armed guards standing in front of there. You know, you see a lot of movies on TV. It's going to be a bank robbery and all that shit. You see that there's, you know, guys with guns, guards inside the bank. You know what? I can't remember one bank at all in the United States where I've actually seen an armed guard with a gun. You know, maybe they got him hiding somewhere. I actually can't recall me ever seeing that.
Yeah, I didn't remember when I worked there. You go to the bank.
Well,
but we don't have. They have a guard, but we don't have.
I worked for the federal government.
When you go inside the door, it's automatic. They got monitor inside, and then they got X-ray. They X-ray your body.
Where?
In Brunei.
Oh, in Brunei, they have like an X-ray thing when you walk through. They can tell you have a gun, you're carrying some weapon or bomb or something like that.
If you bring something like a sharp
object, knife,
or in your body, so they don't open the door.
Well, that's in Brunei, but you know here.
So they have
Yeah.
gun. But
Well,
after you work, they turn over the gun to the next person to duty.
I don't know. But come to think of it, even in America, I worked.
You know what?
I had a for a short period of time. I had a federal job. I worked for the federal government at one time, and even this facility that I was in, although it was very regimental, you punch in exactly on time, and when it was time for you to leave, that time clock, it had to hit. Never mind a second hand or nothing on a clock. It had to go in the exact moment of time, like 5 p.m., not a minute before, not a minute after, second, and very regimental. But even at this federal facility, there was no armed guards throughout the whole complex, and this complex kept a lot of private documents and a lot of different things, murder scene evidence, or a lot of different stuff. Yeah, that's right. I actually had a federal job once, believe it or not. That didn't last long. I had to FBI fingerprints, the whole shit, get in there. But I was in a hurry to get out of there. It was the most boring job I think I've ever had in my life. Yeah, I was a Fed, baby. I was a Fed. Now I'm Sudafed. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. Okay, so we've now established that there are cultural differences out here. So no big surprise on cultural differences, but, you know, something like human emotion, to touch, to, you know, huggy-feely. You just don't see that out here. And, you know, I thought about that today when I actually witnessed that, but I've witnessed it many times. I never really put it to great thought, you know. I mean, out here, if you're an American, they just kind of signal off with their hand like they're saluting you or something. Like, bye. And that's bizarre. And you as an American, don't try to give a hug to somebody's daughter goodbye. No, I never tried that. That would make them feel very uncomfortable, I'm sure of it. Now, in all respect to your Western culture and traditions, they don't always apply the culture and traditions here. So even, I would imagine certainly that somebody else's children, you know a family real well, you're not going to say, okay, it's their birthdays. Okay, I got to go. Give me a hug and kiss goodbye. You ain't going to do that. Parents are not going to feel comfortable about that. Okay. Anything to do with children, of course, it should be respected. But I think on this kind of cultural trait, I mean, I admit it is strange. It is really very strange. They'll hug their dog rather than hug their children out here. They'll hug their little Pomeranian. You know what I mean? Okay, it's a little more than a short, I guess.
Because some person is super.
You know what? It's super malicious. Oh, malicious. Oh, well, I mean, stranger hugging their kid. Well, yeah, that I wouldn't let. I certainly wouldn't let that. Like, who the hell are they? They like a family member. You know them that long that you'd allow them to do that? Yeah, I could see that.
Like somebody, like some person, they want to hug you, and then the persons you want to hug, they don't want to hug you. So
Wow.
you become like
Stand back, yeah.
So that's why don't attempt if they don't want to.
No, I've seen your friends. I've actually get a pat on the back of your friends one time. I forget who it was. I remember. Yeah, they allow that if you approach. You bring them close. You give them a pat on the back. Okay, take care. Yeah, I've seen that. But
when the pandemic time, just like
pandemic time, forget it. They won't even do that. He's like, get the fuck away from me. Yeah.
But sounds like that how?
Well, it's anthropology. It goes under anthropology in different cultures. I'll give you an example. Arabs. Arabs actually is completely the opposite. When they stand and talk to you in the Arab culture, they like to stand very close to you, to the point that you could smell their breath. Whether it's good or bad, it's actually a respectable thing. If you were talking to an Arab, especially in that country, and you stepped away when they started talking to you, or you wanted to keep a certain space, everybody has their space requirements. They would find it insulting. Now, Norway, as example, is one country. They definitely want their space. If you ever talk to somebody from Norway, don't keep on stepping up to them to get closer to talk, because you're going to notice that they're going to be stepping back. Yes, Filipinos.
Don't talk near.
Yeah, you want to keep your space with Filipino. I don't know, maybe they think you got a knife or something. I don't know. Maybe they try.
No,
Yeah.
you just don't very close when you talk.
Yeah.
And then some persons.
It's cultural thing,
Somebody you always go near, and then somebody also want to get it back.
Yeah, I can visualize this scene. You're approaching a Norwegian or Filipino there, and you're trying to come up to them to talk close, and they keep on pushing back, and you get close, they keep on pushing back. If they're near a ledge or something, they're going to fall off the ledge. I mean, it's like, it's that bad. And I know, because I know a little about the Norwegian culture, and I had a girlfriend back in Seattle straight from Norway, from Sandeid, Norway, in Rogaland, Rogaland, or Rhagoland, one or the other. Either way, don't matter. And they were like that. And I mean, I did hang around some Norwegians, because I was around her sister and all their relatives who had Norwegian background. And they were all pretty much like that, So, yeah, there are many cultural differences. So if you're coming to the Philippines and never really meshed with the culture, maybe that's something that might help you. I'm glad to share it with you. And, you might be insulting somebody by what you say. And don't keep on saying it, because people laugh at you. Anno all the time. That jerk Jasper he says he's originally from Malibu or something, who has his show on here. I mean, if I was a Filipino, I'd want to smack him in the face. I mean, you don't have to be a Filipino to want to smack him in the face. Everything is anno. And it's like, we kind of went through this thing before with some female YouTubers back in the past, if I can recall. And it's actually very irritating. He didn't even understand what 4 times you would use the word anno. And he says it all the time. There's some guys out here that are actually really irritating as hell. And this guy is really irritating. Sorry, I wasn't going to get into any that kind of shit on my upload here, but it just came to my mind how irritating that is. Anno.
I know.
Well, he just likes to say the word because it sounds good, and people don't understand what context is he using that word for. Why does he have to say that? I'd say we got all kinds that come out here. The thing is, man, I came out here to get away from jerk-offs like this, But with the rising cost of living... Tagalog? Yeah. I came out here to get away from this kind of shit. I got tired in America and the people like Americans, people in Western culture. But now, with the economy, inflation, they can't afford to live in their own countries. They're all coming here. So where do I go next? I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for good. But, that's why, seriously, if I could live on an island I would, as long as I had the supplies coming in, I had some form of power, electric, something. I don't care about being around a shitload of people. I really don't. That's why I always say, going to really crowded beaches is not a joy to me at all. You could have the beach crowded with land crabs. I don't care what the hell. Marine life, I don't give a shit. Dogs are okay. But just to be around a lot of people, I know you're saying, Frank, you're not a real people lover. Well, certain people, okay? We all have to share this planet together, and we have to live together. I know. Oh, give me a fucking break, really, seriously. I don't know, man. Is it burning off for you guys that live out here yet with all these... Well, you're a foreigner too, perhaps. Look, I'm talking to the wrong people. The fact is that we are being infiltrated by the worst examples of foreigners that are coming here to live in this country. And it's real sad to see that happen. That's why I make it my personal choice. So only a couple of neighbors that are Caucasian, one from Australia, one from United Arab Emirates. That I'll bother with. I don't mind being around Filipinos. He has a language barrier sometimes, but I'm more comfortable with them than around... Then, a lot of foreigners even acknowledge each other. You go downtown or something, you see a foreigner living here or visiting. They don't go out of their way to say, I've had a few that said, nodded, to acknowledge me like I'm another foreigner. We both got white skin. Good to see another white guy out here. God, yeah, please. But no, I don't think that way. It's unfortunately that my experience on YouTube has really just fucked that up for me. That's why I would never live in Dumaguete. I would never, ever live in Dumaguete. Please, no. But you can't get away from people. We've got over 8.5 billion people on this earth and growing. And you have to live with each other whether you like it or not. However, you do have the right and the ability to find a place that is not so populated. That's why I'm living on an island. I mean, there's a lot of people here, hundreds of thousands, but it's not like I'm on top of everybody, and I like my location in the swamp, of course, and it works for me. And I can see people when I want, okay? My house is big enough to roam around and get exercise if I need to. Now with the treadmill, I don't need to go anywhere unless I need to go anywhere. If I need to go to the store, I go out and go to the store. If we're going to make a small trip, we make a small trip. If we want to plan a bigger trip, we can make a bigger trip. But I don't like crowded ferries. I don't like crowded terminals. I hate crowded terminals, whether it's ferry or airline. Absolutely not. And I noticed some beautiful places to visit out, like Palawan. But, no matter where you go, even Palawan, it's just all over the place like cockroaches. And then when I see out here all the litter, and a lot of the foreigners do it. Can't blame it all on the Filipinos. A lot of foreigners throw shit in the woods and everything else. They bring their disrespectful habits here to the Philippines. They bring their attitude here. They bring their problems here, their alcoholism, their bad health, their bad attitude. And we get the black eye for it, the good ones. Anyway, that is my show. Hope you learned something.